Alright, where are all my ramen fans at? You've gotta try Vite Ramen. Delicious ramen with up to 31 grams of protein. And not just any protein, complete protein with all the amino acids your body wants. Provided by the superfood quinoa. Vite Ramen broths are made with real ingredients, and each meal is chock full of macro and micronutrients. This isn't the tiny packets of ramen that leave you hungry. Each of these is a full meal that can keep you full for hours because of its nutritional density. I like how easy it is to make. What you're looking at here took me 3 minutes. My favorite are the meaty flavors. I like the beef pho and the garlic pork tonkatsu. But there are also vegan and plant-based options as well. In summary, quick, delicious, filling, and healthy. You're never too busy to eat healthier with Vite Ramen. Click the link below to get a bundle that gives you $25 in value of free gifts and free shipping in the contiguous USA. And use my code MIB at checkout for another 10% off. That's viteramen.com/MIB, or just click the link below and use the code MIB. Playtime! Yay! In the early 1990s, at the same time the company Trendmasters was launching their Godzilla King of the Monsters action figures, they also released a wave of bendable figures under the same brand name. New on card, the presentation is very similar to the action figures. Even the back of the card here is virtually identical to those King of the Monsters figures. And just like the figures did, the Bendables came with collectible trading cards as well. Obviously, these are made with different material than the plastic figures, and they're gonna articulate differently. Honestly, Rodan here doesn't really articulate anywhere. I mean, there's some flex in areas like his tail and his neck, but they're not gonna stay in different positions than the defaults. The only meaningful bending you could do here is the wings. Bendable Rodan is in the middle here with the 6-inch figure in the back and the 4-inch in the front. Some slight differences you could spot for yourself, but all in all, Bendable Rodan fits right in here. Bendy Rodan is the best one if you want to put Rodan in a flying position, I'll tell you what. I once saw a spider this big! Bendable Godzilla is going to give you lots more posing options. As you can see, his arms can go pretty much any direction, and his tail can lay flat on the ground, or give you this nice J shape. His legs are spread open a bit, giving him this overall, I'm coming in for an uncomfortable hug thing like my Uncle Tito at Christmas. Now, Godzilla actually came in some varieties. The first one is a dark green, but check out this more teal-looking version. It's the exact same figure across the board, just with a different color. It wasn't sold as any kind of variant that I'm aware of. I'm guessing this is just a different production run. But here's a Godzilla variant that is on purpose, because this is the Supercharged Godzilla. Usually, whenever Trendmasters gives you an all-black Godzilla, they name it Supercharged Godzilla, and he's supposed to be more powerful than his green state. Ugh! Maybe Teal Godzilla is the weakest of the three. Meh. What the? Now here's a regular Mothra figure, which isn't that superb to begin with, and here's the bendable version. The biggest difference you'll see is how the legs are represented. Bendable Mothra barely has any. It's just kind of represented by some yellow paint. It looks pretty cheap to me. Her wings can go down and up, and that's about it. As you can imagine, the key advantage of these bendables is their durability. You can have these monsters really wrestle each other without worrying about the plastic cracking or a limb popping off. And there is something to be said for that, because sometimes you just want to play. Mechagodzilla looks good. He's got a nice shiny finish. Since his tail is shorter, you're not seeing much movement there. It's mostly in the arms and legs for him, in case you've always wanted to see Mechagodzilla do a jumping jack. Just for funsies, here he is next to a 6-inch Mechagodzilla figure. Ah, King Ghidorah. If ever there were a character who would benefit from the bendy treatment, it's this guy. If you have the regular figure, you know it's not very poseable. Parts will just pop right off. Bendable Ghidorah is another story. You can bend his tails, his wings. You can even have each of his neck go in a wildly different direction. And just like Rodan, this is the version of Ghidorah you want if you want to see him in a good flying position. The only shame is how small he looks next to Godzilla. The scaling's a little off, but otherwise this figure is a win. Again, we are in a situation where there are two slightly different paint jobs out there. The glossy gold Ghidorah I just showed you, and then this here version, which is much more of a matte finish. Another difference on these two is how the copyright is represented on the wings. I prefer the glossy version, and I'm sure most folk will agree. The flat gold Godzilla looks older faster in my humble opinionation. And there's your original lineup of Godzilla King of the Monsters Bendables. The next line of toys was Godzilla Wars, and this introduced 3 more Bendables, and then that would be it for this series. Here's Mothra, who is perpetually facing downward like it's all sad for some reason. Tiny bendy action in a tail, but otherwise it's just the arms that are moving on this one. I cannot get that head to look up. This Mothra is depressed and doesn't want to talk about it. Quick comparison against the 6-inch figure here. Bendable Mothra also doesn't like to stand very well either. Maybe that's why she's so sad. Leave me alone, me. Here's Space Godzilla, and he's got his legs wide open like he's working on his OnlyFans page, boy howdy. Don't get me wrong, his paint job is great, and I love this figure. And I will say that this is one of the more rarer Bendables. But he's not very useful. All the major bendableness is in his tail here. His arms and legs aren't moving much. Hey, $5 unlocks my new tail kink video. Putting him next to the Space Godzilla figures really accentuates how spread open his thighs are. This image is hilarious to me, and I can't pinpoint why. Now here's a 6-inch Biollante figure, and here comes the much smaller bendable version. Bendylante has some flex in the tail, but the real action is in the vines. You can make them go any direction you want. It's really cool. I wish there was a bigger version of this with longer vines. And that was really it for Wave 2, just these 3 guys. Trendmasters then ceased making Bendables, so no Megalon or Gigan or Baragon or whoever. But I'm really grateful for the ones we have because I actually do like these a lot. So in a moment I'm going to show you some more Trendmasters toys, but hey! We haven't done a Playtime Trivia in a while! So we all know Trendmasters put a lot of stuff out with Godzilla's face on it. Which one of these things did Trendmasters not release in the 1990s with the Godzilla license? A Godzilla bobblehead. B, a Godzilla coin bank. C, Godzilla wind-up walking toys. Or D, a Godzilla drinking straw. The answer in one moment. And we're back! Did you figure out the trivia? The answer is A, Trendmasters did not put out a Godzilla bobblehead. But all that other stuff you'll find on eBay right now. Hey look! Eggs! These are Micro Monsters Hatched, aka Monster Hatched, aka the Hatching Monsters. As usual, Trendmasters used multiple names for the product. Classic! So let's crack these guys open and see what we've got. Mazel tov, it's a boy! A tiny Godzilla to be exact. So if you're trying to put the 2 eggshell halves back, there's only one way they fit, but in most cases, there's a nice snap that keeps the egg together. And you can see Godzilla has a nice green egg with some subtle gradient in it. But who's in here? I'm gonna crack this one like I'm making an omelet. And we have a Ghidorah! Yeah, screw all that Dorat lore they were trying to work out in Japan. This is a baby, full-grown Ghidorah. You can see that his heads, wings, and tails all kind of have to be squished together to make this egg thing work, but he's kind of got a guardian dragon pose going, so I'll allow it. Here we have a brown and black egg really struggling to stay closed, and it's a Rodan in a flying position. I actually really like this Rodan toy. He looks imposing. But even with his wings turned downward, he is an absolute pain to fit back in the egg. Like, eventually it always works out, but get in there. Oh my god! This is definitely the most Easter-looking egg of the bunch, and we've got a Mothra, with her wings curved upward. Now, I've watched the movies, and I know for fact that this isn't what Mothra looks like when she comes out of an egg. But you know what? We can skip that whole larva stage and that cocoon nonsense too, and cut right to the razzle-dazzle, know what I'm saying? But if you think a Mothra egg makes no sense, then you're really not gonna like what's in this metallic-looking egg here, because it's Mechagodzilla. Yeah, a robot. Born of a mother via an egg. And now he's squatting down like he's squeezing one out, which is another thing robots can do now, and nothing makes sense anymore. Mechagodzilla isn't an egg! Is it a robot egg? Maybe by a robot mommy? Who knows? It's your playtime, do what you want. I know for fact a lot of you guys had these eggs or these Bendables or both growing up. So sound off in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time.